Shalom, everybody. This is not my normal time to give updates to everybody, but because of everything that's happening this week with the Rivkah Remnant, I wanted to do a quick broadcast and make sure that everybody understand some of the timelines. I know that we had the big Rosh Chodesh broadcast about the Rivkah Remnant, and I wanted to take just a few moments of your time and to recap it to you and just give you a couple other updates, that some decisions that were made based on the broadcast, and I see so much excitement among our viewers from the Rivkah Remnant, and because of that, we made some decisions. I think that will be for the benefit for everybody. So first of all, what is this big hype and excitement about the Rivkah Remnant? Let me mention this. So everybody know 2020, I released this to the Psalm according to COVID-19. This is a book that all of you should read right now. And the book carry a very important theme of getting out and going to this place called the City of Refuge. I spoke about that a lot. I dedicated a full chapter. It's a message to be called out. That's where the Rivkah Remnant is so critical. This is going to be so critical. Who is going to come out? Who went out of Egypt? Remember, it's only 1 out of 5. It's the remnant out of Exodus. That's exactly where we're going to pick up the story in not the narrative, but from a standpoint of where we at right now. God is calling out the remnant, and he wants to see who hear his voice and who comes out to become the remnant. That is where I am picking up the book. Listen to me carefully. It have only 3 chapters. Only 3 chapters. It's that focus. It is that direct. It is that razor sharp. That it have only 3 chapters. Okay, but those chapters are jam packed. Chapter 1, I am giving you a complete foundation of prophecy, how to understand, how to view, how to understand prophecies in the last days. So you stop listening to a lot of the mumbo jumbo all over us right now and understand. Here is how to understand prophecy. I think it's critical. I think it's crucial. And I think it's something that the Messianic Jewish movement as a whole is lacking. How to understand prophecy, okay? And I give you 5 principles. Those are foundation. How to understand the oral Torah, how to understand prophecy, how to understand future events, how to understand the Torah. This in lines of prophecy, okay? This is, pay attention to this, chapter 1. I'm going to give you 5 tools that are going to be invaluable to you. As a matter of fact, one of our staff member read chapter 1, said, I would buy the book. If you release the book only with chapter 1, I would buy it, okay? Chapter 2, this is going to be very different than other books that I wrote before. So I want you to pay attention to this, how to read the book, how to understand this book. I'm telling you, run and get it now, because this is going to be a game changer. In chapter 2, after I've given you chapter 1 all the tools, in chapter 2, I am going to give you the 50,000-foot view of the entire story of redemption, okay? From Aleph to Taf, I am going to give you the complete story of redemption from the life of Yaakov. And why we're going to focus about Yaakov? Because Yaakov name, as you know, is Israel. Yaakov name changed to Israel. We're going to talk about the changing of the name, what it's meant for us today, the change from Yaakov to Israel, and the significance of this. This is going to be absolutely groundbreaking, huge, because on the 3rd chapter, which is the majority of the book, I am going to talk about the remnant. What is their connection? Listen to me carefully to what I'm about to say to you right now. What is the connection between the remnant and Israel? This is the question everybody is asking today. Who is grafted in? Who is part of this remnant? Who is Israel? What is the connection between the nations who are grabbing to the tzitzit of the Jew to the house of Israel? This is the question, and everybody have to ask themselves. And then the question is, am I part of this remnant? That's where I am going to the detail. I'm zooming in, and I am going to show you from Aleph to Taf, to the life of Jacob, the picture of this remnant. And that's where it's going to get really tricky for all of you, because you're going to have to take yourself and place yourself in the place of this remnant and ask the question, do I fit the criterion of the remnant? Because I'm going to tell you something, the remnant is not a new thing. The remnant is there from the very beginning. And that's where it's going to become, you're going to have to become real brutally honest with you. This is not a theology book. The cool thing about this book is this is a practical applicational book. I'm going to list for you Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Dalet, Hey. And I say, here is the bill, here is the criterion of the remnant. Based on scriptures, do I fit this bill? And that's going to be critical. So again, we're going to start giving you the tools to understand scriptures that frankly, I don't know how nobody ever in the Messianic Jewish movement put something like that in place yet. It's beyond me, but finally I'm glad I did that. Number two, I'm going to give you the 50,000 foot view. I want you to look at that carefully, and then you're going to look at this Rivkah Remnant, which is the bulk of the book, where you're going to have to mirror and ask yourself, am I mirroring the picture of the remnant? Okay, so that is the way the book is going to lay it out, because the nature of the revelation is so intense. It's going to be so awesome. It's going to be so I'm so excited. I'm going to release this next volume later on this year. I didn't want to overwhelm you. The book is roughly about 200 pages, give or take. 200 pages, give or take. It's packed. It is jam-packed, but it's also readable. It is also digestible. This is not going to be like the Besorah, where this is, by the way, probably the greatest work I've ever released in terms of one volume, 600 pages. But this is going to be something that you can take and say, hey, pastor, read this. Hey, dad, mom, read that. Hey, sister, read that. This is it. This is the book that everybody will be able to understand. Do I portray the image of the Messiah and of the remnant of the last days? This is going to be a shocker. I can expect you're going to be shocked at the attribute, the profile of the remnant. And you're going to learn that a lot of people think that they are the remnant. They are not the remnant based on the scripture themselves, okay? So we made a decision because there was so much. I said in the broadcast, well, we're going to release it in English and in Spanish, and we're going to release it also eventually in Dutch, I said, and Korean. I think there was some frustrated folks reaching out to us. So I won't talk about this for a moment. We made a decision. I mean, look, we're going to release it in Portuguese. I'm very disappointed in general in the Portuguese response to the literature. They just don't buy the books. They don't want to buy anything. But I made a decision upon a lot of prayer that even if we sell one copy, okay, we will translate it to Portuguese, okay? It is just too important. It's too important. We're not going to give up on the remnant, upon the Portuguese people. So Portuguese people, come forward. We're going to translate it to you. We're going to continue the work with among the Portuguese. The German, we are overwhelmed. We sold out of the Besorek on the COVID-19 German edition. We sold out. It was so well received. I just could not believe it, how God is moving it and moving through it. So we also made a decision. We are going to do it in German. So if you're watching us and you're a German speaker, well, guess what? The new book is coming your way in German as well. I'm so excited by that. And that all those translations, friend, they're going to start right away. We're not going to wait a year. We're not going to wait 6 years, 6 months. They're going to start within days after the release of the English book. That is really exciting thing. I wanted to tell you something. We want to bring everything because there's a call, universal call to be part of the She'erit. What is She'erit in Hebrew? What is the remnant? What do they represent? You're going to learn this together with me, but it's going to be so personal. It's going to hit you right in the heart. And you're going to have to, don't read the book unless you're willing to really mirror it and say, do I fit this criterion? Okay. It's going to be very important that you do that. So German, definitely. Korean, definitely. Definitely. Also, I want to do some sort of a major outreach into the Shona language. We're talking among ourselves, and I think we are going to be part of this release into Africa Shona. Antoinette, you asked the question, where can I purchase the book? It is very, very simple. Go to the link that I'm putting right now in the chat, www.Rivkah Remnant, and you can get the book there. You can order the book there. The other thing that I want to tell you is really cool is released the DVD bundle, and for basically very inexpensive. The bundle with the book is also available. So again, go to rivkahremnant.com and you can order it right now because it is coming very soon. So let me talk for a moment about the release of this book. Look, the idea of a remnant is not some idea that is a novel idea. You think about it in your mind and in your head. There's a practicality journey, a practical journey that is going to take place. And we want to talk to you about your practical journey. What does it mean? Do I have to become Jewish? Do I need to accept Judaism? I'm so upset and distressed. See people running and converting to Judaism these days. My goodness, we're going to address some hot topics. Should we run and do our DNA? Should we convert? Should we take upon ourselves rabbinic Judaism? Should we take upon ourselves Orthodox Judaism? Where should we be a part of this remnant? I know you have those questions because many people are asking this question, and thankfully the scriptures themselves answer it in the Torah. We're going to look at one story on the birthing of Yaakov, the birthing of Israel into the world. And we're going to see the full picture of the Messiah. It's going to be incredible. Exactly. Jackson Edwards says it's going to be amazing. Can't wait. You better believe it, Jackson. It is going to be amazing. I spoke this morning to my good friend Eldad Kenan from Israel, who has been helping. One of the cool things we have done, and we have not talked about that on our broadcast, is we translated by hand material that is never been translated into the English language. It is going to be shocker to you to see what the rabbis of Israel say. Number one, about the remnant. Number two, about the nations. Number three, about those who seek to become this remnant. Shocking revelations, never been translated into the English tongues. You are going to get it. So get excited by this because we are thrilled to the point that we said, wow, we need 2 books to deal with this remnant business. So the very first book is going to come now. The second book is going to come later this year. And what we're going to do is, look, the backlog of the orders is growing exponentially, because people desire to be part of this remnant. And I want to give you those steps to make sure that you're not going in the wrong way. Too many people are going in the wrong way today. My goodness, they're not going to be the remnant. They think they're going the right way, but they're not. And this is a critical moment for us to really look at the scriptures in light of what is happening in the world right now. God is ushering through this virus a wake-up call for his remnant. There is a calling for the remnant right now. So I want you to take this seriously. Couple of things you can do. Get the RivkahRemnant.com. Definitely get it in your hand. Number two, spread the word around. Number three, bring it to your pastor friend, your Christian friends, your Jewish friends. Your Jewish friends. Everybody need to read it, because one of the things I can tell you about this is everybody have a role to play here. Christian, Messianic, non-Messianic. Everybody is in this game together. So one of the cool things we're doing in Rivkah Remnant, we're identifying the players and we're identifying their roles into this equation. So you guys are going to learn that, and that's going to be awesome, awesome, awesome. So look, we're getting the books onto Bishvat. We're doing a worldwide seder. We have a Tu Bishvat Haggadah available to you on Amazon if you want to buy. It's like $2 or $3, something like this, worth every penny. Okay? And then we're going to come together on January 17th. January 17th, we're coming together. That's a Monday. So we're talking exactly less than 2 weeks from now. The books are in our hands. We're starting to ship the books like crazy all over the world. I expect lives to be changing. And guess what? After the book, when you are going to have a question, we decided to do something really cool as a ministry. We're going to have a way for you to ask those type of hard questions, because I know without a shadow of a doubt that you're going to have to ask some of those difficult questions. They're going to rise up. I am expecting them. So we're going to create a special place on RivkahRemnant.com, on this website, for you to ask the tough questions. And as you ask them, we're going to take those questions and we're going to respond to them via video. That's something that we feel as a ministry that we need to do in order to support the remnant. Because if there is no remnant, there is no salvation for the house of Israel, and you need to understand that. So January 17th is the big day. We're also going to start right away working on an audio book that is going to come from this thing. This is a game changer. So I'm asking you today to really, really pray. This is the week. You see all those baggy eyes that I have? It's because I don't sleep. The rabbi just doesn't sleep. He works every day, every moment, every second, because this is what you need right now. You need to read this book and then look at the mirror and say, do I fit the remnant, the Rivkah remnant? And it's going to be tough. It's going to be really, really tough. But at the end of the day, I want us to really be honest with each other and with Hashem in these last days about who we are, who God called us to do, what is our role, and do we fulfill this role of the remnant? Okay, so again, it's going to come in a very powerful way and very strong language at times, but not offensive, but very strong language. I had to get out of all the messianic organizations in order to write literature like that. Because if I was in the normative messianic organizations out there, we cannot release books like the Rivkah Remnant of things that have to be said, should be said, and really should be speaking directly to non-Jews and to Jewish people in such a way. So I hope that you take this challenge. My challenge to you, I'm going to call it the Rivkah Remnant challenge. That is the challenge, like the ice challenge, the ice bucket, and all of that. Here's the challenge. You read this book. When you get to the final chapter, you write the list. You will see the list of this is the Rivkah Remnant. And ask yourself a question. Do I fit this? Can I get into the Rivkah Remnant clothing? Because I tell you something, when the Rivkah Remnant arise, and it will arise from every nation, tribe, and tongue, the Messiah will be birthed into the world. And that is the entire premise of the book, as you're going to learn together with me. So again, the link for this is as follows: www.rivkahremnant.com. Start to pray Spanish, German, Dutch, Korean, Portuguese, all of this, all the work starting immediately, almost immediately, as we are to raise up this remnant in these last days. So pray for us. January 17, I want to see all of you there on this worldwide To Be Shvat, we'll release the book. Now, the one thing I ask you is this: if you order the book now, give us a few days to catch up, because we have to ship the book. Literally hundreds upon hundreds and hundreds, and there is a huge backlog. So get the order now. That's guaranteed that you're going to get it sooner. We're going to do our very best to get it out ASAP. By the way, Kindle version will be available. My personal recommendation with any of my books is get the physical copy in your hand. So much better. Let me see if you have any questions. If you have any question, I'll take a couple of questions right now. Type them into the chat, and I'll see if there's any questions that I might have missed. Let me see their question. I don't see any questions. I hope that I clarify everything. Again, we are just thrilled by this. The team is working really hard on this. And I think that the exciting things for me is not the release of the book, but the outcome of this, to see so many lives that are going to be changing and transforming. Okay, go ahead. If you have a question, to you back, go ahead and ask me the question. I am all ears. So if you have a question, I can try to answer it. So anyways, we're excited by this, so excited by this, because I believe that at the end of this, there's a real transformation. And that's one thing you're going to notice about the remnant itself. The remnant is constantly evolving. She's constantly changing. Okay? Let's see. Are you implying... Let's see, there's a question. Are you implying that you're going to talk about the Bnei Pushim in your book? Well, I don't know what you mean by Bnei Pushim, but if you mean Bnei Pushim about rabbinic Judaism, which that's what Bnei Pushim is. Bnei Pushim is rabbinic Judaism. Then the answer is yes. We have to tackle this question, whether or not the remnant from the nations should become rabbinic. I think this is an important question, okay? This is a critical question that we're going to look at. So in short, to answer your question, yes. What is our relationship to rabbinic Judaism? What is our relationship to the house of Israel? What's the remnant relationship to that? That's covered. That's critical. Let's go to Antoinette. She said, I am new. Well, first of all, welcome, Antoinette. Great to have you here. I was wondering if you have any other books that are readily available. Yes. I would say that if you do not have this, Antoinette, I'm going to put it right to your face. Here you go. The Besorah according to COVID-19. Get it. This is good news, COVID-19.net. Again, good news, COVID-19.net. And of course, I have the return of the kosher pig, which is kosherpig.org. This is a must. So the answer is yes, 100%, Antoinette. There are additional books. Start with the Besorah according to COVID-19. If you're not familiar with this, although I must say Rivkah Remnant, I wish I wrote Rivkah Remnant before I wrote the Besorah according to COVID-19, but it does make sense because the Besorah according to COVID-19 is explaining to you what's happening into the world right now. Okay? You want to understand what's happening to the world? This is it. The Rivkah Remnant make a sharp turn. It's what you need to do as a result of what's happening in the world right now. You see the difference? So Antoinette, I hope I answer it. I'm going to put for your benefit the other link on the chat. Um, Here we go. I put it for you, and I encourage you to get those. It's a life changers for sure, for sure, for sure. What I'm asking all of you right now to do with me is really to pray. Listen, we don't need to pray for the sales of the book. I don't write books because I'm going to become rich, because I don't. You don't. There's no money in books. You have to understand that. It's a labor of love. It is because there is a transformation that have to take place now in order to bring the redemption now. And I know you see the news, you see what's happening around. You can smell that the king is in the fields, as it says. He's here. The spirit of Messiah is around us. So we need to know what we need to do now. So yes. So let me see. Ronald asked a question. Would you ever consider putting Return of the Kosher Pig on Kindle? I wish. Ronald, I don't own the rights for the Return of the Kosher Pig. What I mean by that, I wrote the book, but I did the Return of the Kosher book under a publisher. The rest of my books are done on my own, and that's why they're Kindle. For whatever reason, the publisher decided not to put it on Kindle. Why? I don't know. It was the #1 top-selling book that I ever produced. I don't know. I think, though, to have such a book on physical copy, it's much, much, much better. Okay, that's a big one. Jean, thank you so much for this question. Will my books will be sold on Amazon? And I want to talk about that. That speaks to the heart of this. You know, we sell on Amazon the Kindle version. And you need to understand, or even on the Kindle, 75-80% of the proceeds go to Amazon. The author get tiny sliver. And when you sell books through Amazon, most of the proceeds go to Amazon. Now think about it. We are outreach nonprofit organization. Why should we give this hard-earned labor that we're doing? Why should we give this proceeds to Amazon? I know for you as a consumer, it's much more convenient to go to Amazon, and we all shop on Amazon. But for us as an authors, it just doesn't make sense to put it on Amazon. Now, certain things like the Ahavat Olam Sidur, we put on Amazon for that purpose, because we wanted to reach the masses. But I just don't believe that we should continue supporting those type of organization with the work that they don't believe in, or they're not part of this. It's not a religious organization. They're just making money. So, Jean, I hope I answered your question in a delicate way. It's difficult. It's hard, because we're responsible for everything: printing, shipping, everything. But it's a labor of love, okay, that we do, and we're happy to do it. Let's see. This is Anna. Hi, Anna Marie. And again, great to have you here. How do you distinguish the exact distinction between Ephraim and Israel? Are they always one the same, different throughout in the Bible? Oh, you are asking wonderful, Anna Marie. You are asking fabulous question. I really appreciate it. I go a step further. I started it, first of all, in the Besorah, identify Israel. But in this book, I really spell it out for you. I think we need to do a couple of things. We need to identify Israel, okay? That's number 2. We need to identify Yaakov. And I'm going to give you a hint. There's a difference between Yaakov and Israel, okay? Now, I want to say it without sounding condescending, okay? So please hear my heart. In the Besorah according to COVID-19, I explain in great detail Ezekiel 37, the two sticks. And I dedicated the full chapter to explaining this. Listen to me carefully. The way Judaism understand it. Okay, you agree, disagree, that's your business. But I explain it the way Judaism understand Ezekiel 37 and the joining of the two sticks. Now, in this book, I'm going a step further. Okay, I go a step further now. I will say something, a disclaimer, and I want you to hear me out. I don't believe in the two house theology, the way that some of the two house teachers describe it. That every Gentile is part of the 10 tribes of Israel. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And I'm going to prove it to you in the book, okay? But what I do believe that there is a hidden, I'm going to use this word that the Maimonides used, mashal vechida. There is a mystery beyond the engrafting that we read about in Jeremiah 31. So what I've done in this book, this is what the entire book is about. It's about this union that is going to take place. Okay? So Anna Marie, this is something that you're going to have to read. I'm sorry, I can't give you the entire book, but you're going to understand Ephraim and Israel and Yaakov. We have to understand it, their role, who is called what, who is the remnant. This is what this book is about, exactly. So, Anna Marie, if you're asking those questions, get the book. It will help you tremendously. I'm so happy that you asked this question. But I know there's going to be some who are going to read the book and going to write me back, especially Messianic Jews, and say, "Oh, Rabbi Shapira, I didn't know you became two house, and in the two house." I'm not, okay? But we need to understand what Judaism teaches. Remember, I'm going to give you the tools, and then I'm going to take you to the literal text, and then I'm going to show you what the rabbis of Israel said, and you're going to be blown away. It's going to be a mind-blowing experience. And for me, you cannot start and say, this is my theological position. Even as an author, if it is a rabbi, the text says, test everything. Hold on to what is good and what is true. That's Shaul. This is what Rav Shaul says. So for me, a lot of the things that I have done, I'll give you an example of a day in the office for me. I read something, always start with the shot of the text, the literal meaning of the text. I read some things and said that this cannot be right. So one of the things that I've done, one of the person that have been really involved in this project is our good friend Eldad Kenan from Israel. Okay, so Eldad, I call Eldad, he's a scholar. And I said to Eldad, look at that. Let's look at that in context together. What do you think? So we're having a discussion, we're having a debate, and we always start from the point that we're trying to say, no, what we think it means, it's not what it is. We always start from the negative, kind of a very conservative approach. You follow that? This is very important. We always start in a very conservative, but no, we misunderstood it. So then we go and read it in context of what? And we always do it together, and you have to understand, even my work, I am putting it in before the scholarships inside Yeshivat Shuvu, although I am the head of the yeshiva, because Torah, you cannot self-study, okay? Torah, you do together, and you fight, and you don't agree, and you disagree, and that's happened to us, okay? And that's okay. As long as you can justify yourself, you're good. As long as there is a justification. So that is kind of the way we approach it. And some of the things that in the Rivkah Remnant that I found, a lot of the things I knew. I know that I teach the scriptures. I'm a rabbi, but a lot of things was like, okay, can I really write this? I'm the author. Can I look at the remnant differently? That's of course, yes. Of course, sure. We're dynamic, we're growing, we're evolving, we get new revelations. This is part of the process of having the breath of Hashem upon us. Okay, so this is new. This is why I'm excited, because a lot of things is like, oh, you know what? I never thought that before. I mean, I thought it in certain other ways. And I want to make it clear, my message as a rabbi, I want to go back and listen to my messages on YouTube, 2009 to 2021, 22. Now they're identical in terms, it's not wavering a lot. But what is changing is the expansion of the understanding and the breadth of the understanding. And praise God, this is a good thing that I don't stay stagnant. God help us. If we stay stagnant and we don't grow and don't learn. And I think now we're in a different time, a different season. I think this COVID-19, whether or not you believe it or not, I think one thing this is done, as I explained in the Besoai on COVID-19, is move the world step closer to the Geulah. There's a step closer. The clock is moving, and we have to listen to this right now, okay? So that's a wonderful question. Let's see, Stuart. Stuart, good to see you. So we are called out believers. Can anyone leave the world that is appointed by people by Hashem? I'm not sure if I understand the question, Stuart, but I'm going to tell you something about this. You use this term called out. This is going to be a really important term to understand. The entire book, he's dealing with this. The remnant, where are they called from? Where are they called to? And here's the biggest one, their journey. How do they make sure that they can get from point A to point B? Because guess what, Stuart? If you get to point B, that is the Geulah. That is the redemption. That is, I don't want to say so much. I want to teach now and give you the entire book, but I can't yet. Okay? I want you to read the book. But this is the thing. You need to identify where you came from. A lot of people today, they just despise where they came from. They become hateful and angry. That's not the right solution. You need to appreciate where you came from, but even appreciate it more where you're heading to. Okay, and this entire journey is the Rivkah Remnant, is the heart of this book. So this is really exciting to me, because I just am excited about this. Thank you, Zion Branch Ministry, always ready. I need your help because we are blocked by Facebooks and all sort of good things. I want you to go to your channel, your Facebook, YouTube's, whatever, and type in this link, www.rivkahremnant.com. That's number one. Number two, keep us in prayer. We need prayer. We need to finish this in excellence. We have 5 or 6 people working around the clock to make this a reality, because we as an organization, we feel the great burden. And you see us all here on Shabbat, and you see, but remember, before the pandemic, we're working all over the world. And I have to manage now working all over the world on a remote control. It's very frustrating. It's very difficult. Pray, because this has to get out to the entire world, the message of the remnant. And in that, that's if I can recap the book in one verse. It is in Paul writing in Romans chapter 11, verse 25 and 26. Paul speaks of the mystery that will bring the Messiah to the world. If you want to understand this mystery, that's what this book is about. We're going to uncover together this great mystery, and this mystery has something to do with you and I. We all have a part to play in all of these things. So again, God bless you. Didn't intend it for this broadcast to go so long, but your questions are so precious to all of us, to me, and we are, as an organization, we're just kind of really excited right now to have you guys with us and see you being transformed through the writing of the Rivkah Remnant. One more time, this is the link, www.rivkahremnant.com. We're shipping it worldwide, and we're excited about this reaching every nation, every tribe, and every tongue. And if you're brave enough, if you're just brave enough, take the big discount and get the trio of Rivkah Remnant, The Return of the Kosher Pig, and the Besorah, according to COVID-19. They are available in multiple languages right now. So again, to God be the glory. So good to be with you. Continue to pray as we continue to expand all the outreaches so that the remnant will be complete in this last day. Blessings to you guys, and I will see you this week, God willing, Shabbat, on the Shabbat. We're leaping from one Shabbat into another Shabbat, and it's only Tuesday. Shalom, everybody. Shalom, everybody. My name is Rabbi Shapira, and I'm the author of the Besorah according to COVID-19, The Return of the Kosher Pig, and now the Rivkah's Remnant. I would like to tell you what to expect inside the Rivkah's Remnant. Inside the Rivkah Remnant, you will find two sections. Section number 1 deals specifically with prophecy. I have felt for a long time that the way we approach prophecy, especially in the Messianic Jewish world and the Christian world, violates Jewish principles of hermeneutics. So I've given you 5 principles of understanding prophecy in the last days. Secondly, we jump all the way from Genesis 25, Parashat Toldot, the birth of Yaakov to Esav, to the end of the story of Yaakov and Esav as our main narrative. In those 12 chapters, we see the entire picture of the good news, the role of Jacob, the role of the Gentiles, but most importantly, to bring you the picture after picture of the remnant, so that you will transform to the remnant. We see the remnant revealed all the way from the beginning to the end in the life of Jacob, and the impact that is on Jacob, who is also known Israel. What is the application for the last days and to the end times? I want you to join me to discover this. So please check it out. www.rivkahremnant.com. Can't wait to get this in your hands. Shalom, everybody.